Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Welcome to the show where we interview the nation's leading real estate entrepreneurs. Welcome back if you are joining us for a second, third, or 100th episode, and welcome if you're joining us for the first time. You are in for a treat today. I have Antoinette Munroe in the house. We're going to have an incredible episode together, and we're going to talk about her pursuit of financial independence through real estate and how she has been able to leverage that to create freedom within her own life, and how you might be able to do the same. Just remember, at Investor Fuel, we help real estate investors, service providers, and real estate entrepreneurs 2 to 5x their businesses to allow them to build the businesses they've always wanted, to allow them to live the lives they've always dreamed of. That being said, Antoinette, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
I'm super excited to talk about today's topic, which is something that just speaks to me personally, the pursuit of financial independence. And real estate is just the best industry that I've found to actually achieve that, because of the potential of what can be done, and how somebody with, not necessarily a traditional background, traditional education, or people that do have those things can get involved and seriously, genuinely change their life compared to what I think a lot of us are taught is the American dream. So before we kind of get into that, though, can you just give us a little bit of background of how you got started in real estate? Because as we were talking before the show, it seems like it was almost a happy accident. And tell us how you got to where you're at now from that origin story.
Yeah, I love to start a story with I was minding my own business. And,
I
um,
love it.
yeah, I'm standard path, right? Go to school, get good grades, go to college. I checked all the boxes, got a good corporate job, realized immediately that I hated it, but didn't know what else to do. I probably suffered there for several years before buying a home. And when I bought that home, it was like, okay, this will be my way out. I'm going to buy this home. I'm going to get a 15-year mortgage. I'm going to pay it off in 5 years. And then I can like go chase a dream or just do something else and not have to worry about making a certain salary because I won't have the biggest expense. But in doing that project, there was like a full rehab that had to be done. Then there was a 700 square foot addition that happened. And now that I had a home with extra space again and all this debt from doing all these projects, it's like, okay, let me figure out how to make some money back to pay back this project. And I was considering roommates, but instead went with Airbnb. And that was just like rocket fuel. From then on, the people that I was meeting and explaining to them what I had done and was doing with the house, they were, when they would introduce me to somebody else, they'd be like, "Oh, this is Antoinette. She's a young real estate investor in the neighborhood, blah, blah, blah." And I'd be looking around like, "What are you talking? Who, me?" So enough people called me a real estate investor that I was like, all right, I got to figure out what a real estate investor is. I need to reverse engineer what I just did so I can understand it and then duplicate it. So yeah, a very happy accident that changed my life.
Wow. Now, what are you most excited about that you're working on right now?
I'm most excited about
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
Switching gears from like acquiring real estate to maximizing the use of the existing real estate I have, with the most recent thing being converting my Airbnbs to an assisted living facility of sorts. Just that's the easiest terminology. There's more nuance to what it is that we do, but everybody knows what assisted living is, and that's the closest thing to what we're converting to.
Now, where did you come up with that idea? Was there like some sort of experience that you went through, or one day you just woke up and were like, I should convert these to assisted living facilities? Like, how did that come about?
Yeah. I knew nothing. I got fired from my job in 2020, just like, a good percentage of the population. And I went to work with a contractor as a project manager because I had been considering getting my contractor's license. So I was like, let's try it to see if I liked it. And some of the projects he worked on were fixing up, maintaining, or setting up homes for individuals that owned these group homes, is what we call them here. So I saw it, heard a little bit about the numbers. I was like, okay, this beats Airbnb. Why not? Let's try it. So I probably spent 5 months with him before I was like, okay, I'm actually gonna really go after this group home thing. Bought a house the next month, and that was all she wrote.
Wow. And so you went into it with the intention of doing the entire process then.
Yes, I didn't. I went into it with lots of intentions, very little understanding or knowledge. There is that. It was just very top level because it's not like I had a direct relationship with any of these operators or owners to have concrete numbers. It was hearsay, but the hearsay was so good that it was worth at least figuring out because because I already had properties, there was not necessarily a startup cost for me. So it was worth it to just see what would happen.
What is that process like? Like if somebody owns some properties and they've been renting them out or using them as Airbnbs, for example, like what does that process actually look like? Because I would think having people living in a home long term that also need extra care would potentially have a lot more red tape than just, hey, you're renting my house for X amount of time and see you later when you're gone. Make sure you get your stuff cleaned up so you get your security deposit. So what are some of the differentiating factors and some of the challenges that might come from doing what you're doing?
Well, it's going to be specific to the state that you're in. But for example, for Florida and the agency that I got licensed with, which is the Agency for Persons with Disabilities, it's a tedious application. But there's no cost to apply. And the only real requirements are that you can pass a federal background check. Um, so
Really?
outside of that, like you can do it with a diploma, you can do it with a GED. The more education you have, the easier the process will be for you. But essentially, I wrote papers I filled out information on a page and filled out an application. For the property, they do require it to be furnished, but that was already there because it was an Airbnb. So I didn't have to do any conversions when I initially licensed. I did, however, put fire sprinklers in it just because of like my client base would not be able to evacuate a home on their own in case of a fire. But if you were having individuals that were walking and talking and capable, then you may not need fire sprinklers at all. So quite honestly, I filled out some paper and
No
submitted
kidding.
it and passed the background check. So I want to simplify it like that because it really is that simple. It just seems like a lot more than it is. Now, of course, there are layers and there are other areas where it can get complicated, but to become licensed is as good as reading comprehension and answering the questions.
I love it. So now with that, what's some of the like upside potential that you have with that versus like doing Airbnb or
If you're looking for consistent, high quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
or having long-term rentals?
So for Airbnb, for the house that I was using, it was a larger unit. We normally do like a 1 or 2 bedroom. This was a 3 bedroom, and just the moment you cross over to that threshold, you get large groups that are not as gentle with the home and people trying to have parties. And you also don't get as many reservations for this area. Small did better. So I was maybe making like 6,000 a month on that house, on Airbnb. And what you can make 6,000 per month per resident on a base level with switching to like these group homes or a residential assisted living.
No kidding. Now, do they have to be like a single level house? Like, are there some things that you have to do to the property if it's not that? Like, because I'm just like imagining in my head, like, it probably wouldn't work, especially for Florida. We don't have basements, so naturally because of our water. But with having like a second level, for example, like, do you have second story houses? Like, do you have to have them just plain one stories? Like, what are some of those things that you found in doing this that you have to really do to help with
Mhm.
the value, or what you have to look for if your plan is to potentially do this?
Yeah, any home can work. It's just the home that you have, you will have to, your client base will need to be able to work for that home. So the property that I'm using does have a second level on it,
Hmm.
but the majority of the bedrooms are on the first level. So because I have individuals that can't go up and down stairs, they're in the rooms on the second level. If I were to serve individuals that could walk safely up and down stairs, then it wouldn't matter. They could go up. So I do wheelchair bound and bed bound individuals. So I added some ramps that I got off Amazon for like $50 at the front door so that the
Nice.
wheelchair could roll in. And that's about it.
Wow, that's incredible. And so with these properties and with what you're doing, because you're ultimately, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I mean, it's more like running a business than anything. How do you like find
Yeah.
the clients of your bit? Like, how do you market that differently than your average renter? Like, what are some of those things you're doing that's unique?
So it is different. Once you cross over to this, if you operate yourself, this is no longer simply real estate investing. You are building a completely new business model. In our case, we provide 24-hour nursing care. So I now own and operate a medical facility. So there's just a new set of everything to learn. If you don't have experience with any of these things, it might be a hard lift, but like I've had to learn nursing language, communication with doctors, coordinating medical care. Uh, I'm hiring, so there's also the HR aspect, managing staff, hiring, evaluating, um, and then the general business operation overall. So this is beyond real estate investing, but the real estate investing is what led me here. And then I can still use what I'm earning from this business to continue to build out a real estate portfolio faster than I would have if I was only earning what I could from Airbnb, because in my area they weren't performing that well, or they didn't make as much as these homes do.
Sure. Now, so with boosting the value in your own homes and the ability for it to produce cash, what does that balance look like for you in terms of how many of these you need to do so you can go do more real estate? Or I know you when we talked in the
One,
beginning, you didn't want a huge portfolio. So like, what does that look like for you? What's your long-term 20-year vision?
for our specific model, one home can earn up to $1 million a year. That's gross. Net, you're probably at about 800,000. So for me, as an individual that didn't want a large portfolio to manage,
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
making this switch fit that because I don't need to acquire more properties. I can take one property that outperforms someone's 50 unit portfolio.
That's insane. So
Yes.
you're saying the margin in that is an 80% potential profit margin?
Well, yes, because in a home, like a bit for the home that I have, I can have up to 6 individuals there, according to my city code.
Okay.
Because we do housing, general care, in addition to 24-hour nursing, I'm being paid by Medicaid 3 different ways. And that's what makes it so high. You're going to hear a lot of assisted living or group home owners, and you're not going to hear these numbers at all, but they just provide the housing and care. They're not providing nursing services. The point of difference, once you add those nursing services, it takes you to a different bracket.
Because correct me if I'm wrong here, because you're getting the nut from the real estate itself, but then you're also getting government funds paid out for the actual care of people from Medicaid. Is that correct?
Yes.
So I have a little bit of understanding on that. My son is actually special needs and was at a PPEC, if you're familiar with that,
Yeah.
in
Hmm.
Melbourne. So kind of similar, same but different model. I'm guessing.
Yeah. So PPECs get to go home and sleep at night.
Right.
For us,
Right.
we don't get to
It's
sleep at night because they're there.
24/7. Right.
Yes. So let's say your son grew up and his medical situation got a little more severe, more difficult for you guys to manage at home, considering that you have 3 other kids. If you placed him in a group home as a minor, he would be in like a foster home that does these nursing services. But once he became an adult, that's what we do. So then we take care of the adults that have aged out of, that have graduated from high school, aged out of the PPECs, and are too much to be at home with parents and family. And then we take on that care. So you're very familiar.
Yeah, for sure. So tell me this, Antoinette. When we started the show, we said we were going to talk about, the pursuit of financial independence and like where it's at now. I mean, you could probably not do what you're doing and be fine. What
Yeah.
is what does freedom look like for you now?
It looks exactly like this. I wanted the freedom of choice to like decide what I wanted to do and to pursue what interests me and to not make decisions about what I did based on how much I would earn. So that's what financial independence gave me. It's basically freedom of choice, right? Like if I didn't start this business, all of my bills were still paid. I was still living the same lifestyle and very comfortable and happy with that. I just probably would be like bored because I didn't have anything to do. So I enjoy building businesses. I enjoy learning new things and figuring out how to like create things. So, you know, this was a natural gravitation. It's like, oh, this sounds interesting. Let me explore and see if I can do that. And it's like a puzzle for me, right? I'm basically just playing with a puzzle every day, trying to fit pieces together and figure out how it all works. Um, so yeah, freedom of choice is what that really does for me.
Do you have like a long-term idea of being like the care home guru of Florida or the United States
Absolutely
or
not.
what?
No. No,
What's
no,
that?
no. Um, because then it's not freedom anymore. If you give yourself too much work to do, then if you wanted to do no work, you no longer have that choice because now you're saddled with all this responsibility. So for me, this was still something that's temporary. I'm building it to walk away from it,
Mm.
either to sell it or to put management in place that they continue to operate it. And I still collect my percentage of the profit. So it's not. my goal is not to work. I don't really like that very much. My goal is to do what I'm interested at the time. And if I'm no longer interested, to be able to transition to something else and have someone replace me to either keep that going or be able to sell it.
So what advice would you give to somebody that's like struggling to figure it out? You know, that's like, hey, maybe I've got a little bit of money. Maybe I'm just overstressed, overtapped with working. Maybe I've got a family, all of these things that wants to figure out how they can also live a life where they're personally free. Like, what are some of the things that you would encourage people just getting started, like in real estate, or maybe even, looking to do what you do potentially, like through real estate eventually? What are
Yeah.
some of the things that you would give as advice to somebody that's new that just doesn't know where to start?
I'd say first, know what it is that you really want. I think a lot of people are making decisions and living life based on what they think they should do or what they see other people are doing, and they're just kind of rinsing and repeating. If you don't know what actually makes you happy or what your end goal is and what you truly want, you can't build a plan to get you there. So, first, it's beginning with the end in mind. What is it that you want? I knew I wanted to not have to work for money. And so every decision that I made, it was weighed, does it get me closer to that end goal? If yes, keep going. If no, that's not the one. And I think once you know what it is that you want, you can, reverse engineer into, okay, well, what gets me closer to this? What do I have to have for that? And kind of build a path for yourself. That's the first thing. I'd say also listen to yourself. One of the things that I struggled with when I started was like hearing everybody else's real estate story and thinking that how could I ever do that? Right? They've done so much. How could I get to this? Or there were just so many things so many messages, so much I was hearing that I couldn't fathom or figure out the way to do that. But it wasn't for me to do that. It was for me to like build my own plan and path and do what worked for me. So, get quiet so you can hear yourself and block out the rest of the noise.
Get quiet so you can hear yourself. What a great line. I'm writing that down. That's so good. Now, so if you had to go back to the beginning of when you accidentally became a real estate investor, but you knew what you know now, right? And you could take all the wins, all the lessons, all the failures, etc., back to the beginning and start it all over. Like, what would you do different, and what would you do the same?
I probably my life would be structured the same in terms of like I have very little personal expenses, and I use a lot of like different house hacks and strategies, and other travel hacks to not have to pay for things. So I would still be a cheapie and do that stuff, right? But still have all the things I want, but figuring out ways to not pay for it. What
Yeah.
I would do different, maybe I would have been more aggressive in the beginning and ran a little faster. Maybe instead of buying one home a year, two or three, but still not too crazy, right? Maybe just done a little more. I was very conservative and not really in a rush. And I say that now, but as I'm saying it and I'm thinking about it, I wasn't gonna do that. I wasn't gonna do it. I think I liked like the natural progression of like each deal just kind of happened. I wasn't like looking for deals, hunting for them. They all just came upon me at some point, and it was like, okay, this works. I'll do it. And I like that because I didn't feel pressured. There wasn't the stress of these timelines I had to hit. Um, so I would want to keep that the same, the low pressure situation of it. But maybe I would have bought more houses, especially with those low interest rates. And that, yeah, that's really the thing.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thanks so much for coming on and recording with us today. If somebody wants to connect with you, learn more about what you're doing and what you're working on, what would be the best way for them to do that? Where should they go?
I have a YouTube channel now, and take this with a grain of salt. It's not like it's. I had camera follow me around for these first 2 years of starting this the group home business.
Yeah.
And you can watch me know things and not know them if that tickles your fancy. And that would be on YouTube, Fearless and Free FI. is the name. And that's the main place where any information is. You can shoot a message there. That's also the Instagram handle if you want to send a message that way as well.
Fearless and Free FI. Well, you heard it here first, folks. Everyone, I hope you enjoyed today's show. We'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.